There are 168 hours in a week. Time is a great equalizer. No one gets any more or any less. And how you spend those hours will define the kind of life that you have. 7 years ago, when I was 25, I started my second company. The goal is to take that company to 100 million in valuation. Over that time, I've also had 4 kids. My wife and I love and crave each other, and I get to spend my time exactly how I want every day. There are a handful of things that led to that success, and luck was definitely one of them. But more accurately stated would be the return on luck. These 3 routines are the habits that allowed me to capitalize on lucky opportunities, and also gave me the grit to push through when brutal misfortune hit. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 3 routines that will allow you to accomplish more before noon than your friends accomplish in a week. As you continually stack successful days on top of each other, you'll begin to see an exponential increase in your results. Before we begin, there are a few principles that will set the groundwork. The first is called the Pareto principle, named after Wilfred Pareto, an Italian economist. He found in his studies that 80% of the land in Italy was owned by only 20% of the population. Alone, that's an interesting statistic only, but as he continued his research, he started to see the 80-20 ratio pop up all over the place. In business, 80% of the revenue was generated by 20% of the customers. He noticed that 80% of the complaints that came in were also coming from just 20% of the customers. Most interestingly, 80% of the value a business generates comes from 20% of the tasks. He referred to these tasks as the vital few, the 20%. The second principle is that of flow. The phrase was coined by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. He described flow as a state in which people are so involved in an activity that nothing else matters. The experience is so enjoyable by itself that people will continue to do it even at great cost. When you're in flow or in a flow state, you're unconsciously competent. You're in the moment and performing at your peak. Remember back to the time when you couldn't miss a shot, where you sat down to write music and you did your best work, unconscious of the time passing. That's flow. Because of research done over the last 4 decades, we know that flow doesn't just happen. There are specific situations that bring it about. And because we know those situations, we can induce it. With that baseline knowledge of the Pareto principle and flow, I'll go through how I accomplish all of my tasks in flow and only focus on that 20% that brings about 80% of the result. It all starts the night before at 5:45 p.m. Before I wrap up my day. I have everything planned out so that I can win the next day. Here's an in-depth look at my process. Step 1, I clear out my texts, my email, my WhatsApp, my Slack. I get everything completely opened and responded to. Items that I can't respond to then or need me to take action, I just add as to-do items for future days. Next, I have a spreadsheet where I track my 3 most important routines: my wind down routine, my morning routine, and my weekly planning routine. If I hit on just those 3 routines, my entire year will be a success. Next, I choose from a list of a few routines that quickly get me in an abundant mindset. That may be listing 3 wins for the day, or picking 3 things to be grateful for. Or my most favorite is double dipping happiness. Happiness is just a state of being that's triggered by how we interpret a set of circumstances. That means to double dip happiness, all I have to do is look back on a happy moment from the last week or month and relive that experience. After I'm in an abundant, grateful mindset, I plan out my day. This diagram does a great job in showing you why both difficulty level and your skill level are necessary to reach flow. Now, the first step to planning my day is setting my alarm. And I found it doesn't really matter if you're a night owl or a morning person. Either one can facilitate success. I'm a morning person and I generally wake up between 4 and 5 a.m. Step 1, as soon as I wake up, I grab a big glass of water. Your brain runs on water and it's dehydrated when you wake up. After that, I'll grab a couple pieces of fruit so they can be metabolizing before I hit the gym. When I first started waking up at 4, it was brutal, but the business needed it and I had to do it. I made a video called Wake Up Hungry. Most people wake up tired and it makes 0 sense. In the video, I go through the process that will make it so that you never want to press snooze again. Next, I spend about 10 minutes writing in my journal. Depending on what I'm feeling that day determines what I'll write. After journaling, I spend 20 minutes reading something that will improve my life. Then I head to the gym. At the beginning of the month, I pre-populate all of my workouts for that month. I also go with a playlist of the songs that I'm going to listen to. When I finish my workout, I head to the sauna and meditate for about 8 to 12 minutes. I've been meditating for 5 years, and more than any other activity, it's contributed to my success the most. After meditating in the sauna, I'll hop into a cold shower and do box breathing. Box breathing is simple. You breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and just repeat. After that, I get ready for the day, grab a protein shake on the way to work, and it's usually about 7:30. That wraps up my morning routine. Again, the purpose of the morning routine is to prime yourself so that you can be in flow in as many activities as possible. After I've planned out my morning routine, I dive into the next 8 to 10 hours of the workday. At this point in the day, I still have not checked my phone other than to turn my alarm off and listen to music at the gym. So with not checking my phone the first thing after the gym, my first 90 minutes after my morning routine is always spent on a flow session. This is my most important, most critical task of the day. I spend 90 minutes on it and I make sure that I get into flow. When I start my flow sessions, I turn my phone on Do Not Disturb. I set an alarm for 90 minutes and I close my door. I don't have to think about anything else. I just work until that alarm goes off and then I'm done. If an urgent item or a to-do list item or just a thought that I don't want to forget comes up while I'm in a flow session, I'll just open up the notes app on my computer and write it down. After my flow session, I get up, I'll go take a walk. You expend a lot of energy. I'll take a walk for 15 minutes and come back, and that sets up my 90-minute flow sessions with a little break afterwards. After scheduling all my flow sessions, I'll toss in any meetings that I have. Lastly, I make sure I have a lunch on my calendar. That completes the day. At the end of the day, I go through and rinse and repeat. Good luck.